Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aliu Kasim, and with me is Kabin. Kabin, you want to say your full name or something?
Kavin is okay. I'm Tumpoka Kavinga.
Yeah. So she's the co-host. I'm the host. We both of us are hosting this summer vacation webinar. So I'll just give a brief introduction of the speaker. So his name is Hussein Tajudeen Hussein. He's a PhD student of transportation engineering in Central South University. And his research interests thermal analysis and optimization of light train systems. However, the topic for today is guidelines for writing a master's thesis in Central South University. So he's going to walk us through, the formatting, the writing process, parts by parts and component by component. So I hope that this session is a very engaging one, participatory one, so that especially if you are a master student and especially if you are already writing your thesis, I think this session is going to be very useful, will prove very useful for your graduation. So I hope that after Hussein makes his presentation, we'll ask questions, and then Hussein, who is already a PhD student and who has already gone through this period during his master's, will be able to attend to these questions. So thank you very much. And Hussein, are you ready? Hello, Hussein.
Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes. We can hear you. You can share your screen now. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation or for the introduction, Ali Kasim. I don't know if you can see my screen.
We cannot. Okay, now we can.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know from where you are hearing me. It's nice to
Sorry,
be here.
can you play your slides? Can you play?
Okay. What about? Is it okay now?
Perfect.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, thank you for having me, Kasim. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to share my experience about my thesis writing to fellow colleagues that are about to write their own thesis. First of all, my name is Tajudeen Hussein. I am currently a PhD student of transportation engineering, as Aliu has said. I will be giving a presentation, not necessarily, though the topic says guidelines for writing a master thesis in Central South University, not necessarily how to write the thesis. What I'm going to be focusing on is the formatting, because I think that's a very, very important and vital aspect in writing thesis in Central South University. Because even if you have graduated, you've defended your thesis, even after 5 years, committees are set to check your thesis again to see if the formats are okay, because I have friends that had this kind of issue. So that's why format is a very, very important aspect for writing thesis in Central South University. So first of all, Okay, first of all, what are the components of a CSU standard thesis? What are the things you need to have that makes your thesis a qualified thesis in Central South University? The first one is your cover page. Your cover page design has to follow the standard that has been given for all theses. You have to follow the font size, the font style, the color, and everything has to be standard. Next is your title page, your declaration, your Chinese abstracts and your English abstract. I'm sure maybe for those that have not written a thesis in Central South University might be wondering, why do you have a Chinese and an English abstract? Yes, you have two abstracts, a Chinese and an English abstract. Then your table of content, list of tables and figures, symbol description, chapter structure, reference, appendices, achievement, and acknowledgement. So we're going to go through all these steps one after the other. And after that, I'm going to also show you my thesis and show you some skills that might be useful for you when you are writing your thesis. There are some shortcut you can use to do some kind of maybe if you have a problem, because there are people that face a lot of problem when they're using Microsoft Word, and there are some little skills I can show you that you can be able to do better when you're writing your thesis, so you don't have to face those kind of problem. First, the design of the cover page. How is the design of CSU cover page? First, these are the vital information that are supposed to be in your cover page. The first is the topic of your thesis in both Chinese and English. And you have to state it on it, whether it is a master's or a PhD thesis. I'm going to show you all this. Then the school and the department. If, for example, if you are in transportation, that's your school, then what department? For example, for me now, if I put transportation, then my department has to be equipment, transportation equipment and control engineering. So you have to put all these things. And then your author's name, your supervisor's name, that's the author's name, which is you, then your supervisor, the year and the date of completion of this thesis, and the page size of this cover page has to be A3, not A4. It has to be A3. So I'm going to show you all this. This is a sample of the exact thesis page of a CSU thesis. So if you look at this, I don't know, can you see my mouse? Let me try.
Yes, we can. We can.
I think you can use a pointer, right? No. Okay, yeah. So this is the cover page. So I told you is a A3 size. You have to use an A3 size cover page. If you don't know how to do this, when I open my thesis to show, I'm going to show you all this. Here is has to be the Central South University logo, and just down below, you have to state it. Shui Luen. It has to be a master's thesis, and if you're a PhD, it has to be a brochure. So, but for PhD, the cover page is a red color, not blue as we have it here. It's a red color. So we have to take note of that. And then the font size for this it's Simhei. This is in Microsoft Word. You can find it in Microsoft Word. Simhei, and the font size has to be 18. Please take note of all this. These are very important. The font size has to be 18, and you have to use Simhei, not any other font type. And then just below it, you have to also now state the Chinese, the topic in Chinese. You have to write it in Chinese using the same Simhei, but with a bigger font size, which is 22. And then below it will be your topic in English. This you have to write it in Times New Roman size 18. And then followed by that is a table. This is a table, although it has been hidden. What you have here is the first is your first level. That's the first school, which I already said, the school and the department. Here now, for example, if you are in if you're in transportation school, this has to be transportation. And for me, which my department is vehicle operation, this has to now be vehicle operation. Note, this has to be all in Chinese, not English, please. They have to all be in Chinese, not English. And then here, your name. You have to put your name. So you can put your name only in Chinese, or you can put your English and your Chinese name. But don't put only your English name, because most teachers don't. We're in CSU. Most teachers don't use your English name. You have already been given a Chinese name, so that's why you don't have to put only your English name. You can put both your English name and your Chinese name, but don't put only your English name. But you can put only your Chinese name. So, and then the next is your supervisor's name. This has to be Simhei size 16. But for English, when you're writing English, maybe for your English name here, it has to be in Times New Roman. And they should be centrally aligned. Like they should be just the way it is like this. There's no need to change any other thing. It has to be just the way it is like this. And then lastly here, this should be the date, year, and the month of graduation, like the estimated time of graduation. For example, for those that are going to graduate this year, 2024, you have to put 2024, your year, that's 6 year. You understand what I mean? That's June or July. It depends on when you're graduating. And the size has to be 15. The font size has to be 15. For the numericals, which are the numbers, you use Times New Roman. And then for this Chinese characters, Nian and Yue, they have to be Simpson. So please note all these things. Because these are very important. We have a lot of friends that face issues because of all these little things. So that's why I want to take my time and give you bit by bit on how these things works. Because my school, for example, it's like they are very strict about all these things. You have to follow it just the way it is. Okay. So this is that about the cover page. Then the next is the title page, because after your cover page, which I told you is A3 size, next will be your title page. And your title page is just like your cover page, but a little bit different. Although the cover page is an A3 size, the title page is the normal A4 standard. So what are the information you need to have on your title page? Sorry, this is a mistake. On your title page, the first is your classification number, your school code, UDC number, degree, category. All these are going to be provided by your school. So they are going to be written up here, this. The first is the classification number, your UDC number, your school code, and then your degree category. All these will be provided by your school. So you have to write them here. And then you have to also now state whether it's a master's or a PhD. So for here now, for master's now, like I already said, Shoshi Shuil Luwen. And then for Boshu, it will be for PhD will be Boshu. So just these first two characters that will change. Okay. So the size here now will be 18 bold, but not New Times Roman as is written here. This is an error, but Simhei, it will be Simhei. Then the next one is the topic in Chinese. Also Simhei, but a bigger size, which is 22. Okay. And then followed by your topic in English. This time it will be size 18 and New Times Roman. Size 18 and New Times Roman. So just like we have in the cover page, we also have this in the title page, which is just more details about you. The first is your name, which I already stated it. Don't put only your English name. It's either you put only your Chinese name or you put both. Okay. And then first level, second level, which are your faculty and your department, then your research direction, and your supervisor and other things, and also your, for example, if you have a second supervisor, maybe your supervisor is like the main supervisor, but you get help from it from another person, which is like your second supervisor. So you have to also put the name to here. So this table here has to be font size 16 and Simpson. The Chinese characters have to be Simpson centrally aligned. But when you have English written in it, those has to be New Times Roman. Okay, and then these are where you're going to sign and your supervisor is going to sign, but these are after you've done your defense and you've passed, then all this you can sign. And this, I already said, it's you put the year of graduation and the month of graduation. Next is the declaration page. Just like we have in any other thesis everywhere, we also have declaration page in Central South University. And the declaration page provides the originality of the thesis to show the copyright use and the authorization of this thesis. And it has to be signed by the author and the supervisor. So this is an example of the declaration page. It has to be in Chinese here, like this. There are friends I know that translate theirs into English. If you want to do that, you can add a page of the Chinese and then a page of the English. But I think that's too much. You don't need to have both. You can just have it just the way it is in Chinese like this. So the title here has to be Sim Pei size 22. And then here too. And these are size 14, which are Simpson. All these are size 14, which are Simpson. So what you just need to do when you're writing your thesis, just copy and paste just the way it is like this. You don't need to change any other thing. Okay, that's that about the declaration page. I hope there are no problem up till now. I hope we are all following. Hello?
Hello. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand.
Okay. Yes. If you have any question, there's no problem. You can
just raise your hand.
I want it
and I'll allow you
so we can have.
Okay, we have someone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where?
Hello, bro.
Hello, Hafiz.
Hello.
Hello, bro. Thank you. I have a question. Just you mentioned that this title. What was the size of this title?
This one.
Yeah.
This is 22. Size 22. Yeah, size 22. This one's.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's go. So the next is your Chinese abstract. Okay. Most times when I mention to my Chinese friends and tell them we have to write a Chinese abstract and it has to be over 5,000 word, and they'll be like, what is that? Because for them, they don't have this requirement. We are foreigners. We have to have this because most of the people or the supervisors that read our thesis, their English is not so sound that they can understand every term in our thesis. So we have to provide a very short Chinese abstract. I don't want to say this is an abstract anymore. It's more like a summary, like a very precise summary about the thesis. A 5,000 summary, it's like a paper. So we have to provide this because most of them don't understand some of the terms because it is in English. So that's why we have to have a 5,000 Chinese abstract. This is for a master's requirement. I know for when I was writing my undergraduate, it was 3,000. For PhD, I'm not sure about that. But for master's, it has to be 5,000, not less. If you have 4,900, it's not enough. You are still going to be called back. Because I remember when I wrote my thesis, I think I had 485 or so I was like, oh yeah, it's okay, no problem. There's no need to make it 5,000. Even after my defense, I could remember we were about leaving from China. I was already going back home. And then my supervisor called me. I was like, my abstract is not complete. I have less than 5,000. I'm like, huh? How possible is that? And I went to go and check it and I was like, oh, I had to make another, I have to increase the number of signs. So it's better to have more than 5,000, not less than that. 5,000 abstract. Okay, and how do you come about this abstract? Sometimes it's better to write this abstract in English. Just give an entire summary, like a complete summary about your thesis in English. Write it out, and then you can use ChatGPT to translate. So once you use ChatGPT to translate, don't put it in your thesis like that. You need to have a Chinese friend or colleague to double check for you, and not any kind of Chinese friend. Somebody that is in your research group, somebody that understands your thesis, your research. Because if you give any other Chinese person, they might not understand some of the words. They just look at it and, yeah, this is okay. No, some of those translations might be very poor. It's only somebody that understands your research work will know this is not correct. So once you've written it in English, you've translated it, then give it to a Chinese colleague who understands your research topic. That way you can minimize and reduce the error of translations. Okay. And how do we write the thesis, the thesis abstract for the Chinese? Like we have here, this is the topic in Chinese. Like I said, Sim Hei, size 16. And then your abstract, which is the Jiao here. There are some mistakes that most colleagues do about when writing this Jiao. They tend to write the Jiao and put it here, like this Jiao here. I put it abstract here, like here. This is wrong. You need to put it the way it is, like this. It has to be on the side here, Jiao, then just continue with hyphen, and then continue, semicolon, and then continue. I don't know if you understand. You don't have to put it Jiao up and then come down and start writing your abstract. No, it has to be just the way it is, like this, on the side, and then you write what you want to write. So the size of the Jiao, which is the abstract, this first one, it has to be Simpson bold. You need to put this as bold, just the way it is, bold. And then the content would be on bold, but with the same size 14. So you have to put them everything like this. And if you've done that, also here you have to now state the number of figures, the number of tables, and stuff like that. At the last end of your Chinese abstract is your keywords. Your keywords. Mostly you need at least 3 to 8 keywords. And these keywords, there are mistakes people do. After you write a keyword, for example, if I am relating it with my research now, I said equipment, and I'll put comma, thermal analysis, comma. No, you don't use comma. Use semicolons like this. Don't use comma. Semicolons like this. And the last keyword, you don't need to put a full stop. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. You don't need to put a full stop there. Just the way it is. If you're having more than 3 or 5, you put 5. The last one, no need for full stop. And your keywords, I think it's better most times to just leave it at 5. If you go 8, some supervisor might tell you it's too much. So better to leave it at 4 or 5, like that. Okay, that's that about the Chinese abstract. And then your English abstract, which is the next, is the normal standard English abstract, just the way we write it, not 5,000 like in the Chinese abstract, no. Sometimes 300 or 150 words. Most times it shouldn't be more than 2 pages of your thesis. And then the abstract, most times it summarizes the content of the thesis, and it doesn't ask to merely see what it is. Sometimes, most times abstracts, we write it as the last item because of course, you've gone through your conclusion, you've gone through everything, and then you can come up with an abstract, because abstract is a very brief summary about what I am going to go through when I read your thesis. Okay, so it's just like the normal standard abstract that we already familiar with. Okay, so the writing style now will be just like for the Chinese abstract. This has to be abstract here, not up here. Please note that, because these are errors that I have come across with. That's why I'm trying to share with you. It should be here. You bold it, and then the content. The size is 14. Now this is Times New Roman because it is in English now. It is in English, so it has to be Times New Roman. You put the content and the abstract, they are all size 14, but the abstract should be bold. And then at the end, you have your keywords and your classification number, just like I already said in the first 2 pages before. Those classification number will be given to you by your school. Next is your table of content. The table of contents is essentially a topic outline of the thesis, and it is compiled by listing the headings in the thesis down to whichever level you choose to have. Like we have here, this is in Chinese. I have another one which is in English, so that is more better to explain there. Okay. We have here the table of content. Okay. And table of content, I think most people are familiar with how you write you bring out your table of content from Microsoft Word. Hopefully, if time permits, when I open my thesis to show you some few things, I hope I can show you this too. When you generate your table of contents, these are easily, you can automatically generate them from Microsoft Word. What you need to pay attention to is most times when this table of content is generated, you'll notice that the first chapters, which are the heading 1, they all come out as capitalized. What you want to do is make them all to be the same. You don't have to have capital and then small letters like that. No, let them be uniform, just the way it is here. And then for the subheadings, which are the 1.1, they should be all on the same line, and then one spacing after the main heading, the subheading, and then the next subheadings now. So they have to be on the same line, if you understand what I mean here. So if you see the literature review now, the subheadings now are research on equipment cabin and research on HVAC system and stuff like that. So they have to now be on the same line. They have to be on the same line. Okay, and mostly that's the things about table of contents. First, you need to have them in the uniform letters, not capital, small letter. No, they have to have a uniform letters. You don't have to have them in capital and small letter. So that's that about that. And then for the list of tables now, for your research, it depends. This is dependent on the type of research you have now. Maybe you don't have a lot of tables, a lot of figures, so you don't have to write this page. But if you have this page, you need to have a list of tables and a list of figures. It is better to have them in separate pages. If you can see mine, it's in separate pages because I want to show you. That's why I had to combine it like this. But it's better to have them in separate pages. The list of tables should be in a separate page. The list of figures should also be in a separate page. And most times the list of the numbers, caption, and page number of every figures and tables has to be in the body of the thesis. So another thing again I want to draw attention to again is apart from the list of tables and figures, if your research is related to it has a lot of formulas, a lot of symbols that are in it, then you have to have another page which is symbol description. Here you have to write all the symbols, what they mean, all formulas, what they mean. You have to put them in a table form. They have to be in a table form. I hope I can show you this. I think I have this in my thesis. They have to be in a tabular form. Okay, so this is when you have a lot of symbols like that. But if you don't have symbols like that, you don't need these pages. Even for the list of tables and list of figures, if you don't have a lot of if you have to put it, even though it is one. If you have one table or two tables, you have to have list of tables. Figures too, if you have one or two, you have to have it. And even though it is one or two, they have to be in separate pages. It's not advisable to combine them in one page. Okay. Now, the structure of your thesis. The structure of your thesis most times depends on what are the outcome you want from your research. For example, now your research might be 5 chapters or 6 chapters or 7 chapters. It depends on what your research outcome is. But for the standard, this is the standard, which is the 5 chapters standard. The first is the introduction. And secondly, for the introduction, here you have the research background, the significance of the study, research aims and objective, the literature review. This literature review, I know in most schools or in other schools, they used to have it as a separate chapter. But in CSU, it has to be in chapter 1, which is the introduction. You have to have them combined in chapter 1, not a separate chapter. Okay. And then your main research outline, the scope of your study. And then chapter 2 will be the main theory behind your research. This chapter, most times, some supervisor might tell you it's not necessary. You have to have something else here. But because you want to meet the words requirement of your thesis, which is mostly around 20,000 or so, you might want to provide the theory behind your research. Here you have to provide every theoretical formula or knowledge that is related to your research here. Then the chapter 3 has to be your methodology. What type of method are you following? If I'm taking me as an example now, for my research now, for my methodology now, for there I have to provide the geometric study of this geometry of my model which I'm using. I have to have what kind of boundary condition I'm using, any other thing, the thermal, it's what I call it, the heat measurement of my equipment or any other things there. So this is dependent on the kind of research you have. So anything that is related to your research that talks about the method in which you carry out this research has to be in your methodology. And after your methodology, the next chapter is chapter 4, which is your results, your analysis, and the interpretation of data. So this has to be your chapter 5. And then the last chapter, which is your conclusion and further research or further recommendation. So this is the standard. That's what I said is not necessary. It has to be 5 or 6 or 7. This has to be, it depends on the outcome of what you want to get. So some people research now might have to be 7, 6, 5. So this is dependent on what your research is. So this is that about the chapter structure. Now let's go into the chapters one by one. So for example, now if I have my chapter 1 now, okay, before that now, this is like the first page of your research after you've put all the preambles. This is up here you have to have like the Jungnan Dashway, if it is a bowl or show. So you have to have that here. And then for the top here, it has to be chapter 1, introduction. This is for the chapter 1 I'm discussing now. Chapter 1, introduction. And then chapter 1, introduction, the chapter title. If this chapter 2, maybe methodology, or chapter 3, like that. And the size here needs to be 16. 16, New Times Roman 16. Okay, that's heading 1. And I'm sure we are familiar with Microsoft Word. So after you've written a chapter 1, then you have to put heading, you have to like highlight it as an heading 1. So this way, when you want to generate your table of content, it is easily generated. Okay, and then your content now has to, I said this is 16. Your content would have to be 12. 12. First, heading 1 is 16. So if you have another sub heading after heading 1, which is heading 2, it will be 14. If you have heading 3, it will be 12. So the content and heading 3 both has to be 12, 12. But the only difference will be the subheading 3 will be bold, why this is not bold. So the heading 1 is 16, subheading 2 is 14. This is the font size I'm talking about. The style is Times New Roman. The font size is 16 for heading 1. For the content is 12. Subheading 2 is 14. You have subheading 3 is 12. So please take note about this. And then if you have, okay, yeah, another thing is, for example, this is subheading 1 now, which is heading 2 for example. Now this is subheading 1 now, which is you highlight this as a heading 2 in Microsoft Word. You have to have the numbering has to be 1.1. That's for it means chapter 1, number 1. Next, chapter 1, number 2, chapter 1, number 3, like that. So if you have now subheading, this now is subheading 2 now, or 3, for example. It will now be chapter 1.2 times 1. I don't know if you understand what I mean here. So for the first heading 1.1, yes. When you have another subheading there, it will be 1.1.1. If you have another one in that same subheading 1.1, it will be 1.1.2, like that. Just like we have here. This is an example for you can see 1.2 has a subheading which now has to be 1.2.1. This subheading here is size 12. This looks bigger, but it's supposed to be size 12. Not the same thing with this. Okay. and then 1.3 like that. So I don't, if you really get what I'm saying here, is the subheading size are different depending on what subheading you have. Okay. And then if you have figures in your thesis, if you want to name your figure, or you want to number your figure, it also has a rule, just like we have it here. For example, if this is in chapter 1, this is my first figure in chapter 1, it has to now be figure 1-1. I don't know what if you understand what I mean now. It's figure 1-1 means figure chapter 1, first figure. And it has to be 10 point, the size has to be 10.5. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, around 10.5, and then times New Roman. So when you have another figure inside chapter 1, now I have like this one now. Now it has to be chapter 1, then figure 2. If you understand what I mean, because most people, once what they do is they put chapter figure 1, figure 2, figure 3. That is wrong. That is completely wrong. You need to follow just the way it is like this. If you're in chapter 1, you have 2 figures like this. Figure chapter 1, figure 1. Figure chapter 1, figure 2, like that. I hope we were getting what I mean. Okay, that's that about this. And then for tables 2, once you are numbering your tables 2, just like we have said for the figures, you need to also do that here too. For this now, this is the first table of chapter 1. It will be chapter table. It should be table because this is in Chinese. So but when you're writing it in English, it will be table 1-1. Okay, 1-1. And then when you're writing your table, you need to maintain a 3-line table, not any kind of table, a 3-line table, just like we have it here, a 3-line table. Even for the 3-line table too, the thickness of the lines too have to be, they are different. For the first 2 lines, I cannot remember very well, but I think it's around 3/4, 1.7, like that. I'm not sure, but the lines for this and this are the same, but they are different from this. Okay, so it's a 3-line table. You can easily find that in Microsoft Word, and then you also change the thickness of the lines too. I cannot remember the sizes of these lines, but I know they are not the same. Okay, and then the content is, the size of the content is times New Roman, and your size is around 10.5. 10.5. Okay, that's that. So what do we do when we have formulas in our thesis? How do we number them? For example, now in 1.4 here now, you can see we have a formula here, which is C height j is equals to 0 and all other things that follow. This is because they are all related. That's why we have 1-1A, 1-1B, 1-1C, like that. So if you have noticed what we have been doing since, when you are numbering the chapter number, and then the number itself has to follow like this. Okay, so if we have another formula which is not related to this, and we are still having it in chapter 1, it will now be chapter 1, 1-2. Okay, these are all related. That's why you have them A, B, C, D, like that. Okay. think I've talked about all the important things for this place. So, okay, yeah, just like I said, you have, now this is another formula in chapter 1. It will now be 1-2. Chapter 1, the number 2. Okay, I hope we are really getting what I'm saying, please. Okay, and also it is not stated in this standard that was given to us, but most times what supervisors will advise you to do is, when you are writing your formulas, they should be in a table. What I mean is, yeah, you have a three column tables. This formula should be centrally aligned, and then the first column of your table should be empty. The second column should contain the formula, and then the third column should contain the number. And then you eat this table, you hide this table, like you hide them. So mostly that's what they advise you to do. This is written like this, but mostly when you want to write it, I hope I can show you this in my thesis. You have to have a table there, and then you hide it. Okay, and this is for chapter 2. So anything we have done in chapter 1, you have to do them in chapter 2. When you have figures, it has to be figure 2-1, figure 2-3, like that. So tables 2 has to follow this suit too. So I think that's that about the chapter structure. Now let's talk about the literature review. Okay. I know most of us are familiar with what literature review and how we come about our literature. When you're writing your thesis, you need to, of course, cite those you have gotten some ideas from, or some knowledge from, of course, when you're writing your thesis. And then when you're citing, the citing style we use in CSU is the numbering style. The numbering style, superscript, not just the number like that. It has to be superscript, not subscript, superscript. Just like we have it here. If you see this now, one study by Wang and et al., I cited it with a superscript. If you look at it here, the superscript, not subscript. And I said numbering. Yeah, numbering. For if you're using Mendeley or EndNote, if you use the IEE, yeah, the IEEE style, you can get this. Once you have this, mostly they don't superscript it for you. You can just do it by yourself. It doesn't work automatically for you like that. I know it's troublesome, but sometimes you have to just follow it like that. Okay, that's the most important thing about literature review. The citation style, it needs to be superscript. Okay, so for the requirement of the literatures, I think if I can remember vividly, we used more than 60. You have to reference more than 60 for your master's thesis. You need to reference more than 60 literatures. You need to reference more than 60 literatures. And most times supervisors will advise you to cite literatures that are within 5 years of publication. If you go older, it's okay, but most times it's advisable to use within 5 years of publication. And then the referencing.
Hussein, sorry.
Yes.
I think there are a few questions that you may want to answer now.
Okay.
So the first is, what is the required referencing for CSU? And then the second is, I don't understand what you mean by three-line table.
Okay, okay. Maybe what I will do is at this junction, I can just go to my okay. I can go to my thesis.
You
so
can choose actually whether you want to answer it now or after
no, I
after,
think
after you
I
are
think
done, you just answer.
it's better to answer now so it can be more engaging as
Right.
it is. So let me switch to my, the first question is about the three-line table. Let me switch to my thesis. I don't know, can you see my thesis? No.
No.
Okay.
We're still looking at the PowerPoint.
Okay, just a moment.
You have to reshare.
Yeah. How do we stop sharing?
Or you check your 10 cent.
Yeah, just
Like, I mean, you should just click on 10 cent, the app.
yeah.
Let's look for that.
I've done that, but it's not really even showing where.
You can search for it on the startup. Just look
Yeah,
for
yeah.
the app if you can't find any button. The software, the 10 cent software.
Okay, what we should do is because I'm trying to stop this one, but unfortunately it's not.
Or you can try to play the slides and then see if the button comes up.
Oh yeah, I can do that too. Yeah, let's see.
If it's not there, just search for 10 cents on your startup. In your just Windows key, then search for 10 cents.
Yeah, I can find it now.
Okay.
Okay, let me stop sharing this one or new share. Yeah. Okay. We can see this now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay, the first question, which is let's go directly to the question. Maybe we can come back again and I'll show you all the things I wanted to show you. The three-line table. I have a table here. Okay. For example, now this is an example of a three-line table, but although because I have more. Okay, yeah, this is perfect. Okay. So in Microsoft Word, you can easily select what kind of table you want. Okay. So most times when you have selected here, you can just easily go to table design. You go to table designer. You can see my cursor, right?
Yes, we
You
can
can
see.
see my
We
cursor,
can see.
okay?
Yes.
You go to table design. You need to select your table first, and then go to table design, and then you select. So you see this I have here is a three-line table here. This one here. Okay, I was talking something about the thickness of the lines have to be different. Okay, so if you look here now, the upper line here is different from this and this. And this up line here, this one here is 1.5. Okay, this is 1.5. And then for this second line here, I think they are 3/4 like that. So another question is, how do you do this? So let me put this as default and put them as zeros, so we can do them. So at default, most times when you select the three line tables, they are like this. Okay, they are like this, just the way it is like this. Okay, so how do you design and change the sizes from the thickness? I told you the thickness, the first line there has to be 1.5, and this has to be 3/4, 3/4 like that. So firstly, now you need to select, for example, you can see the table is not showing here now. You need to select, pay attention to that. You need to select your table, and then the table design comes out. And now for the first upper line, which is the first boundary, which is 1.5 now. When you select 1.5, you can see the cursor now has changed to a pen there. Then when you come to the line you want, this now, I want this now to be 1.5 now. I have to select it. No. Sorry. Yeah, this is 1.5. Sorry, I was clicking 0.5. So this is 1.5. So this is 1.5 here, 1.5. And then you click on it. You just click on it. Just let me put it back to the 0.5 so you can see what I mean. So you click on it, 1.5, and then select the line. You select the line, just like that. Okay, that's that. And then for the two other lines, I told you there has to be 0.75. Then you have reach 3/7, yeah. And then you just click on it. Just click on it like that. I think this is already 0.75. So this is the standard for the three line table. Okay, it's just a three line tables like this, and you have your content in them. The first line here, the thickness has to be 1.5, 0.75, and like that. I don't know if the person that asked the question understand what I mean. Yeah, the line spacing here is look at the paragraph in here. Oh, okay. The question is, I'm sorry, I just saw a question now. It's asking about the line space for each paragraph. So I think what we should do now is, let me go back and finish my slide. Then we can come to the Microsoft Word proper, and then I can show you all these one by one after the other if you have questions. So let me quickly complete my slides, please. Okay. So we were in okay, yeah, I was talking about, okay, can we see my PPT now?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, I was talking about the referencing. So as I said, for master's thesis, you need more than 60 references when you're referencing. And what kind of referencing style you need to use. For Mendeley, which I use often, you can easily find the China National Standard, GB, that's Gobiao, T7714 2015. When we go into my Word, I will show you this for Mendeley users, but I'm not familiar with EndNote because I know these are the two most used tools. I'm sure you can find this too in EndNote. The style you have to use is the China National Standard. For this China National Standard, because it's automatically generated for you, most times it comes out with Chinese characters in them. What you don't have to trouble yourself with that. Just delete just Chinese characters. Just delete them. And the reason why they use the China National Standard is, what you notice is, for this China National Standard, for every paper, it will tell you what kind of paper it is. If it is a journal, J. If it's a conference, M, C. If it's a notebook, M, and stuff like that. That's why they use this type of referencing style. And the size is 10, I think, with New Times Normal. So we can confirm this when we open my thesis. And I already said it. You need 60. Please pay attention to that. More than 60. If you have less than that, it's trouble. You need more than 60. Okay. And then the appendices, most times we put appendix when we have too much information that we cannot provide in our thesis. So you can bring them into your appendix. Okay, I didn't mention about the style for the numbering for the referencing. For the referencing here, the number is 16, just like I said here. So, and okay, I didn't also talk about, for this, which I've already said in the previous page, you have to also put reference in here. For other pages too, you have to put chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, like that. For here, you have to put reference in. And the size for this reference, like I said, is 16, and this is 10 or 10.5. Not certain about that. Something applies to this too. The size is 16, and this, not necessarily you have to have it in your thesis. This is dependent on the kind of information you have. You have too much information or too many information that you don't want to put in your thesis, you can easily bring them in the appendix. Okay. And then the next is your major publication, your major research achievement during degree study. That's your major publication, the conferences you've attended, seminars, and all achievements that are related within your 3 years of your master studies. You have to put them here too. And lastly, which is your acknowledgement, you have to acknowledge. This is a page that focuses on expressing gratitude to organizations, agencies, individuals that are one way related to your thesis. And your acknowledgement should be realistic, exaggerated, and vulgar words should be avoided. Another important thing is there's no need to bring, I know this is a sensitive topic, but there's no need to bring religion into it, because there are friends I know that, of course, they say that I want to thank God and stuff like that in their acknowledgement. Of course, this is a very good thing, but we know the type of environment we have. I'm saying this because there are friends that I know that did this, and they have to tell them to rewrite the acknowledgement. you know. So please pay attention to that. You just go straight forward to people you want to thank and your supervisors, your organizations and stuff. There's no need to bring other things into it. Okay, so let's pay attention to that too. I think for now I am done with the PPT presentation. I think we can go into my thesis proper, so we can discuss, and if you have problems, we talk about it. Okay. Right. So first question I see here is what is the line spacing? But before that, I already said I was going to give you a brief about my own thesis, just total summary of what I've been saying so far. This is like the standard thesis for masters. You can see it is a blue cover. I told you if it's a PhD, it's a red cover. You have the logo, and then master's thesis, the topic in Chinese, and I already told you what sizes and the style you have to use here, and then the English, and you have this too. Pay attention to what I said too. Is either you put both English and Chinese names. You can put only your Chinese name, but don't put only your English name. Okay, that's that, and you have your declaration page, which is, it has to be signed after you've defended your thesis and stuff like that. And you have your JL, which is your Chinese abstract. Just like I mentioned here, you don't need to copy. Okay, let me explain what I mean here. So if you copy this now and now say you put it here and now put it center align like this, this is wrong. This is totally wrong. When you do this, it is not allowed. Just the way it is like this. You have your JL and then you write. This has to be bold. Sim Hey for thin. And then this will be Simpson. All this will be Simpson. All this will be Simpson. So like that. So if you have English in your JL, that has to be in New Times Roman. And the size, the total size is 14. This is that about the Chinese abstract. I told you, I already mentioned it. You have to give a Chinese person that is related one way or the other to your research, or that knows about your research, so they can do a proper translation for you when you have translated. Okay, so this is your English abstract. You have it, the normal type of English abstract, just a 2-page English abstract, and then your keywords. Table of content, I already talked about this. List of tables, list of figures. So another thing we have to pay attention to here is I think this is the best time to now talk about answer the questions for the paragraph in here. For here now, if you want to paragraph your table of content, most times when you select it like this, you can just go right click and come to paragraph. And come to paragraph. So the line spacing here, like I said, the first headings has to be the first one here with 0 line spacing. And then the next one, it's 1 line spacing. Not spacing here. It's like 1 space for the heading 1. And for the heading 2, you have to, it's 2 CH. Yeah, it's 2 CH. So I'll show you that what I mean by that 2 CH. But the line spacing, the entire line spacing for the table of content is size 20, is at 20. You have to place it at 20. So that is what you're going to maintain throughout the thesis. Size 20, exactly size 20. Okay. I also mentioned something about symbols. Yeah, or formula description. So see how I put it here like this. So these are symbols that are in my research. So I had to define them one after the other. You can see density here and stuff like that. So this is also dependent on your research. If you have something like this, you need to also define them, define the symbols. Okay, these I mentioned that for master's thesis, it has to be social, and for a PhD, you have to have bullshit like that. And here, chapter 1, and the size of this is size of this is 10.5. 10.5. This is 10.5. Okay. So I think we can start asking our questions, so we can have an interactive section, and if you have any problem, I can show you in real life like this. So Kasim, I don't know if anybody has a question they want to ask. Kasim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I mean, is there anybody that has question they want to ask regarding thesis, so I can answer
Yeah,
them directly?
I'm looking at the, okay, someone wants to speak. Hoping. Hoping, you want to say something? Okay. Hafiz.
Yes, bro, I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, bro. Bro, you said about the abstraction. You said the amount of the word should be more than 6,000. It's like a conference paper. It's right or no? Maybe I
Okay, yeah, I understand what you said. Yeah, I mean the Chinese abstract. Your Chinese abstract has to be 5,000 words. 5,000 words, yeah. For master's thesis.
How about the English version?
For English version is just 150 to around 300. Not
okay.
Not 5,000 like the Chinese abstract. But for your Chinese abstract, you have to have 5,000 words, not less than that.
Okay,
It's even better to even put it at 5,200 like that.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, man.
Okay, guys, are there? Okay, there's one. There's someone.
Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for the good presentation. I want to ask, in our format for the thesis from the School of Nursing, we have a review section below the main thesis.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm asking, do you also have the same, and who is to review? Because I've seen from other theses, there is a major review which is almost the same, like it has an introduction of your thesis and literature review. So who is supposed to review your thesis before you present it?
You mean your question is like the review, like the external and internal review? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so yeah, okay, about the review, do we have internal and external? Are there two? Because I only know about the external reviewer.
Yes, you have two reviews. The internal review,
Yes.
you have to first do the internal review. When you pass that, and then it is sent for an external review. It takes about 1 month.
So who is supposed to do the internal review?
Yeah, we have to do internal review too.
No, no, no. I'm asking who is supposed to do it
The
for you?
teachers in the school, the teachers in your department are the one to do the internal review, not yourself.
Okay, 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 okay.
Yeah. So the external review will be sent out to other schools.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions, please?
Somebody's asking about latex. I don't know
Hello?
what is that. Hello.
LaTeX, it's also like a software you can use to write. So, hello, yeah, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
I wanted to know if the Chinese abstract will be part of the 20,000 words for the master's thesis.
Yes,
The 5,000 words, the Chinese abstract is part of the.
it's part of it is part of the thesis, because if you look at my thesis here, I have more than, I think, about 30,000 words.
No, what I mean is the word count for the master's thesis. You know, usually I had it should be 20,000.
Yes.
The Chinese abstract, the 5,000 Chinese abstract words, are they going to be part of the 20,000 count, or they are not counted within the 20,000?
No. I think for the Chinese abstract, for the total words, it will be 25,000, because the number count without the Chinese abstract is 20,000. And then when you include the Chinese abstract, is around 25,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
You're most welcome.
I would like to give some suggestion.
Hmm.
The first is instead of trying to follow okay, this is supposed to be this size, or this is supposed to be this size. What I've done and what I think is better is just write your thesis using the template.
Yeah, that is also okay, but the problem is not everybody has the template. You get?
We can share, right? If you have it,
Yeah.
we can share it.
I can share the template.
Yeah, I think that saves you from
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
trouble.
easy. Yeah.
You just write your thesis directly. If you have your thesis somewhere else, you just copy and paste. You paste on Notepad, and then because Notepad can erase all the formatting from the previous location you copied from, and then you copy now from Notepad into the template. So you write your thesis in the template, so that you don't need to worry about this is size so and so.
But sometimes you also need to know about the sizes, because sometimes these things are not completely accurate, because you need to also do a check of all these things. What kind of size is it, this and that, like that. This is just like for general information.
Yeah.
But just as you have suggested, I think it's very, very okay.
Yeah, and then there's also a trick, a small trick. Sorry, Hussein, can you open a new document? I just want people to see there's a way you can format your equations, without using the three-column table. Just open Control N. Just open a new document.
Yeah, it's Control N. This is Control N.
This is new. I'm not seeing a new. What I'm seeing here is your thesis.
Oh, I need to share it again. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Can you put an equation? Just any equation.
Let me just copy one from.
Or just insert. Let me see. I want people to follow. Just insert. We can just write anything actually. Insert equation.
Let's just insert anything from the equation.
Maybe F is equal to MA. Just the simplest one. F is equal to MA. Just any simple. Okay. So when you insert your equation, you just you press hash. Shift 3 hash. Yeah.
Okay.
Shift 3. Yes. No. It should be inside the equation. So backspace and the arrow back. No. I want it at the right.
Kasim, how about you share from your screen? Then you can easily.
No. It's simple. It's just simple. Just do it. Yeah.
Like this.
No. Yeah. Okay. Arrow front. Arrow right. Sorry. Arrow right.
Arrow right. Okay.
I'm not seeing the arrow right again. Arrow right. Okay.
Like
now
this.
hash.
Okay.
Hash.
Hash.
Yes.
Okay, shift. Okay.
Shift 3. No, that's one.
Okay.
And then brackets, the normal brackets, open and close.
Okay.
Yes, close,
Close.
then enter.
Enter.
You see? So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
so this is a simple way you can format your equation.
This is another skill.
Yeah.
See, I'm just learning this for the first time.
Yeah.
That's
So
good.
are there other questions for Hussein? Okay, someone suggesting that you use math type. That's also a very good one.
Yeah, you can
Math type
also
is
use
also
one
good.
type. You can.
Okay, in the absence of other questions, I would like to.
There's a question here. What
Okay.
is the suspected time for feedback from all reviewers?
I don't understand which of the review you're talking about. Is it the internal or the external review? For the internal review, it doesn't take more than 2 weeks like that. But for the external review, that's most times is around 1 month for both reviews. And for the reviews, for the external review, once you have A and B, I think you're safe. But when you have C or D, for C, it's also okay, but you need to rewrite and then submit again. The suggested errors and reviews they have mentioned, you have to do that and then submit again for another external review. But once you have D, that is the problem. You need to wait, I think, 6 months to submit again. It means you have to work on your thesis for another 6 months before you can submit for an external review. I don't know if you get what I mean, Abdullah.
Okay. In the absence of any other questions, I'd like to invite Toms to give a closing remark. Toms, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please.
All right. Thank you so much to all of you that have managed to join this academic seminar. It's a pleasure to have you all, and it's good to know that people are interested in expanding knowledge. And we also say thank you to our presenter for today for facilitating this meeting, and we hope that all of you will continue to learn new skills and also make time for the upcoming seminars. So it's been a pleasure from myself, the co-host, Tumboka Kabinga, and the host, Mr. Kasim. So thank you all. Back to you, the host.
Thank you very much, everyone. This is the end of this session. We hope to see you this time tomorrow for another similar session. Thank you very much. Bye.